Imagine this, you're just living your life, walking down the street and boom, out of nowhere you get stabbed. You are now dead. Your last thought being whether or not your friend will delete your search history or not. But instead of death, you get transported into a new and completely uncharted world where you just happen to be reincarnated as a little blue slime. What I just explained was more or less the first episode of Tensei Shitara Slime Datta, or for all those who lack a bit of culture, that time I got reincarnated as a slime. The premise is simple. The guy dies and becomes a slime. Easy, right? It's been somewhere around 2 years since the series' end, releasing alongside things like Bunny Girl Senpai, Goblin Slayer, and the 5th part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure of all things. And while I was busy cringing at the thought of another season of Tokyo Ghoul Re, seriously, it was garbage. JoJo's just wasn't enough to cleanse my mind of that god-awful continuation of Tokyo Ghoul. And that's where Slime comes in. With JoJo's, there was an abundant amount of hype that propelled the show to the forefront of the season. With Goblin Slayer, its shockingly dark premise helped pave its own path to becoming a well-respected show. But you know what both of those shows have in common? They take themselves way too seriously. JoJo's with its highly anticipated 5th part, and Goblin Slayer being all about a guy who just wants to kill goblins. So under those circumstances, you'd never think that a fresh show about a blue slime would be so memorable. But it was. I could go into a great deal about all the parts of the show that makes it so great. Like how it feels like the main character is playing a video game and is getting a new bit of progression in front of our very eyes every single moment. Or how the lighthearted nature of the show serves as a breath of fresh air and something that you can watch purely to enjoy. And part of the reason why I found this show so enjoyable was its main character, the signature little blue slime, Rimuru Tempest. Now, if you haven't seen Slime, the title of this video will more than confuse you. Hopefully my little introduction motivated you at least a little bit to go and give it a try. Also, if at any point you happen to enjoy this video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. It is 100% free and you can always unsubscribe. But for those of you who are familiar with Slime, the title may hold just a little more significance. Okay, but how does Rimuru Tempest have infinite potential? He is just a slime after all. Well, the answer to that question lies with the show's unorthodox power system, by anime standards of course. Slime's power system is based on the idea of skills, and it's one of the main things that makes Slime so interesting. Here's a brief little explanation of skills and how they work. Resistances are exactly what they sound like. Resistances. They give the holder resistance to a certain force. There's all the way from pain nullification to heat resistance. And while resistances are really only defensive, they can be extremely helpful for fighting monsters who use certain elements as their main way of attack. Intrinsic skills are the innate ability that monsters of the same type possess. Abilities specific to that particular race of monster. For example, since Rimuru is a slime, his intrinsic abilities are Absorb, Self-Regeneration, and Dissolve. Common skills, your most run-of-the-mill basic abilities. Examples are Body Armor, Paralyzing Breath, and Self-Regeneration. Which brings up an interesting point. A skill can be intrinsic and common. If the skill itself isn't all that great, but it is also just something that a monster gets from existing, it can be considered a common level skill while still being specific to that monster. Hopefully, you understood all that. Extra skills. Abilities with higher power and efficiency when compared to common skills. Magic Sense, Sage, and Sticky Still Thread are all considered extra skills. Keep in mind, intrinsic skills can be considered extra skills. Unique skills are usually composed of common skills and extra skills, or have a sub-skill unique to that specific unique skill. Rimuru's Great Sage is a very powerful and useful example of a unique skill that we get to see early on. Last but most certainly not least, ultimate skills. And while I won't name any in specific because I don't think we've encountered any in the anime, I'll still be explaining for future reference. Ultimate skills are exactly as the name implies. They have the ability to grant the wielder ultimate power to control the very laws of nature. The only way to combat one ultimate skill is with another. That's the unbendable rule of the world. So now you have a rudimentary understanding of how skills work. We can finally shift our focus back to Rimuru. You must be thinking, how can this cute little blue slime be so devastatingly strong? Well, there are two critical abilities that have allowed Rimuru to transform from this harmless blue slime into a truly frightening force to be reckoned with. Straight off the bat, Rimuru already spawns with a completely broken ability. It's one of his first and most powerful, Great Sage. It's an evolved form of the extra skill Sage, which Rimuru obtained after death. Unique skill Great Sage's capabilities are a major part of why Rimuru's strength has infinite possibilities. Thought acceleration raises thought processing speed by 1,000 times. Analytical appraisal gives Rimuru the ability to analyze/appraise his targets. Parallel processing is the ability to detach thoughts and analysis. Basically, Rimuru can think about something or analyze it, and instead of him actually doing it, all the thinking is put on the Great Sage. Great Sage has a few more abilities than that, but the one I want to take a closer look at is its analysis. This ability allows the user to study and analyze any absorbed target. So let's say there's a plant that can be used to make health potions. If Rimuru simply absorbs the plants and finds out that he can actually make health potions, he can automatically craft them. And considering he can store an unlimited amount of materials, the possibilities for this are endless. The scary thing is, this doesn't just work with craftables. If Rimuru fights a monster that has an ability that he likes, he can absorb that monster, use Great Sage to analyze its ability, and then possibly obtain the ability for himself. The one drawback to this is there are times where the ability isn't successfully copied. Great Sage also has a built-in auto battle feature that allows the user to give his permission so that Great Sage can fight on his behalf. The only notable use of this is when Rimuru fights the fire demon Ifrit. Great Sage by itself is already an unnecessarily overpowered ability, one that if used right can allow the user to obtain a vast amount of power. Imagine if you had Great Sage. Are you sure that this ability alone would make you become the Demon King? No, luckily that's not the only crazy ability he has up his sleeve. This next ability is called Gluttony, and it's the single most broken ability in the entire slime universe. Gluttony uses an upgraded version of Predation, which essentially absorbs the target, including but not limited to magic, skills, inorganic matter, and organic matter. Mimicry turns you into a target, and depending on the success of your analysis, allows you to use all of the target's abilities. Isolation stores harmful and or unnecessary materials and uses them to replace your magic energy. And Stomach stores the absorbed target and allows the use of all the abilities I've mentioned before. And you want to know the crazy thing? Gluttony can become even stronger. If down the line we encounter somebody who has an ability that's compatible with it, it's possible for them to combine and create something even more catastrophic. That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime is a super fun and lighthearted series. If you like playing video games and watching anime, Slime is gonna hit right at home. It's a great shonen, and overall it's just a really good watch. But hey, all of you slime summons, comment your favorite moment from season 1 and what you hope to see for season 2. If you did enjoy, make sure you like and subscribe. As I said earlier, it's free and you can always unsubscribe anytime. Anyways, my name's Jam, making sure that I don't get reincarnated as a slime, and seeing you in the next video.